Hello everybody, this is luckyDminor, starting today's episode of 4-Player Chess FFA review, a little philosophical. So, to mate or not to mate? That's the question. Just like Hamlet said, to be or not to be in the Shakespeare drama, the question is, what are the implications of 4-Player Chess FFA in how we live our lives? So are we willing and living our lives selfishly, just concerned with our own results, or are we also willing to support others and play team when appropriate? Are we willing to be second, or do we always have to win? Do we get dependent on a partner, or can we win back our independence and go for our own goals? Do we quit early just because we suffer an early strike, or do we continue with hope and patience for better results in the end? Do we cling to one strategy, or can we adapt ourselves to the circumstances as needed? Do we get angry when someone does not support us? And do we ruin the situation by getting reactive? Or do we stay calm and as constructive as we can? Do we enjoy the game even when we lose sometimes? Are we playful in our lives even when suffering is part of it? So, to be or not to be, that's the question. And in this review, you will see to mate or not to mate is also a question. So let's see how the game unfolds. So we're playing in a mixed situation. My opposite is a 2000 plus player. To the right, there's a 1900 plus player. To the left, 1600. So I have kind of the stronger partner. The opening is just as usual. Blue starts to go for an early promotion. No one really stops him. Okay, and that is something I oftentimes do when I play FFA. If there's a weaker player on the board, at least from his ranking points, I do not always stop him from promoting. I let him go. I let him do his thing and start to establish my position. I do not have to fight everyone from the beginning. Okay, green is threatening to attack my knight at some point. I want to stop the pawn. And here's the first additional queen. Okay. So many moves, no special aggressions to anyone. I sometimes like plays that do not start the fight immediately, where everyone develops, everyone is still on 0 points, and everyone tries to figure out the best position. Okay, here's the castling of green. I have said many times I do not support early castling, especially to the left side where the player from the left can attack you and you may still get additional attacks from the opposite or your right side. But let's see. So I bring over my knight. First of all, because I see the knight has no real fields here. So if I want to bring it into the game, I bring it over. Secondly, because I see there's a part of weakness I can attack, and possibly with 2 knights that may be a good situation. Wow, and then blue is doing something which you may expect if you have a player with 1600 ranking points. You would not expect it with a higher rated player. But in this case, blue does an attack on the opposite player. And of course, it's a free pawn here because the queen is protected. The queen will not take back. And the only threat that blue has here, and I suffered from that many times in my beginning of FFA playing, if the pawn would come over here, it would attack two queens at the same time. And basically, blue would have to trade queen for rook. But let's see what green is doing. But basically, the higher price you pay here as blue is that you're telling your opposite player, I'm not your teammate, so I play for myself alone. I'm selfish in my game. I'm selfish in my life, possibly. Do not want to offend anybody, but it may imply. So this is kind of a bad signal I give. Okay, yellow has kind of an interesting opening with just a big line of pawns. Let's see how that unfolds. Green moves away. He does not attack blue, and I think he does that intentionally. He is kind of a higher rated player, and he knows he could win a queen for a rook, but he would also lose a rook, and he would completely ruin a possible partnership and teaming with the opposite player. So in this case, he does not get angry about the attack. He stays calm, does not react actively, moves back, and tries to make the best out of the situation. Okay, blue moves back, of course. And again, green makes the rook move, but does not attack the queens. So he doesn't want to get into a fight with his opposite player. Okay, now blue is starting to attack me. I have to defend this pawn somehow. Green is opening a queen's line towards my position. I defend my pawn. Yellow continues to develop. Green now also starts to push pawns. So he basically allowed green to have a second queen, blue to have a second queen. He even allowed him to take the pawn without punishment. Now he tries to queen himself and hopes that blue is also calm with him. I protect my pawn. Okay, yellow will possibly stop the promoting of the green pawn. And here I do an attack move towards green. So green has castled early. He has even brought his rook away, so the king is kind of quite alone in that corner. I move away my knight, but it's not a move away, it's also an attack. There's a possible check here. Of course, the bishop can always take, but he would lose, of course, his bishop then and have a pretty annoying pawn in his king's corner. And also the check would always be a danger for attacks from blue and from yellow. Also, I open a line with a double attack on this knight. So the knight is only defended one time. I just can't take the knight. He can take back. I take with my queen. And then suddenly his king would kind of be alone with my queen in this corner. And even having still my knight to join the action together with my queen. So pretty dangerous situation for green already here. Okay, blue is fianchettoing, attacking my pawn in the corner, but my rook was preemptively defending that one. Yellow's pushing pawns, stopping green from promotion possibly. Green is seeing the danger and at least wants to get out of check from the knight. But still the attack comes. So in this case, I know I lose a bishop because basically green can do nothing about it. so green has to take it. He could move his king, of course, but then there's also again the situation with possible checks. I could always take the bishop, the king would have to take back, so he will lose his bishop anyway. He has an insecure king position, so basically he has to take the bishop and then tries to go from there. So blue is continuing the play. He's not counter-attacking me. He's even blocking his own bishop line. So I can see that blue will not support green in this situation. Yellow's moving forward in the center, knowing that green is distracted by my attack. So green takes, red takes, and king is in check. So this was expectable. So I would have wished that yellow would have done something more active, more aggressive towards green in order to support my attack. But of course, stepping forward in the center, stopping the queening, maybe even killing that pawn or queening yourself is always a good option in this situation too. Blue's doing slow moves, no support for green. Yellow's continuing his way to promotion. King has to move. And now knight is giving the next check. This was also expectable. So with this check, basically I also allow yellow to queen because queen pawn cannot take. So this is not only against green, but it's also support for the opposite player. And in this case, as I expected, somehow blue additionally attacks green. He already showed in the beginning that he does not know about team strategy with your opposite. So he killed the pawn in the beginning, and now he's using the same queen to even attack the green king. And in this situation, well, of course, yellow is promoting to a queen. Interesting because, of course, blue is kind of facing that queen, and this may be a queen trade also. But anyway, he just takes a chance to do this because it's protected by his own queen. And green basically has to move the king, cannot go anywhere else. So in this situation, I'm faced with a difficult situation. I have the possibility to mate green in this situation. Just one queen move and green would be gone. Green still has lots of material, so getting rid of green in this situation, being kind of the strongest side player against me, would be a very good move, especially since the other side player is not that strong. And so I could just get rid of green, but of course I would lose my queen because it would not be protected, and blue will just take it pretty securely. Okay, so usually I think I should have done it. To mate or not to mate, that's a question. I think I should have made it here. But I didn't do. I didn't mate him. I was thinking that, well, yellow's queen is facing blue's queen. Blue queen is facing green rook. King is cornered and cannot escape anyway. So I was thinking, let them all fight it out. And I can just wait a little and would not only win over green, but also possibly blue and yellow would lose through some trading actions. So I was kind of playing a different tactic here. And I was just pulling another knight close by in order to make sure that in one of the next moves I will mate him anyway. So let's see how it goes. Surprisingly, blue is really trading queens. And I was kind of happy on the one hand, because of course now another side player is losing a queen. Yellow is taking, and since green is no longer checked, he could have, at this position, he could have just taken the yellow queen. He's not doing it. Why not? I mean, can I make green in this situation? Well, I could take this pawn. Then the queen would have to move, the king would have to move again in the corner. And then what could yellow do? Could he immediately attack? I don't see an immediate mate here. So in this situation, possibly for green, I would have just taken that queen. But he didn't do so. He rather protects his king position, which is kind of also understandable. And in this case, of course, I cannot take that pawn. I could just remove my queen, trying to find a safe place for it. Or I could do a more aggressive attack. This is kind of really aggressive. It doesn't give a check on green. The rook can always take. Of course, he would then lose the rook. But the problem also is I cannot remove my knight because then my queen would be hanging. Blue is doing nothing. Green is yellow is taking the green pawn. And green is doing another active, aggressive defense move. So he offers the queen trading. And in this case, again, what should I do? Should I move away my queen, sacrificing my knight? Should I give another check with the knight? What's the best move here? Maybe you write in the comments. So what I did, I was giving another check. I was hoping that yellow would either take this queen, hoping for me that I somehow give another check on green and the pawn cannot take back. Or I would hope for yellow to give another check from here in order to prepare a mate in the next move. So I was not really thinking through the whole situation. I was just trying an aggressive way to move forward here. Blue is doing not much. Well, he's opening a line for the queen for a possible mate also. Yellow is just stepping back, staying passive. I was kind of a little sad about that, but of course, in this situation, an attack of yellow would always depend on me giving another check, and otherwise he would lose his queen, and I'm not sure if I would have done it in that situation. So, and green queen kind of course has to take the knight, otherwise he doesn't get out of that situation here. And in this situation, I do not take the knight. And I think that's another mistake I did. In this situation, I was searching a safe field for my queen. I have to move my queen here. I cannot mate. Oh, now I see it. I could have just taken the rook and I didn't see it. I was already maybe a little under time pressure. I don't know. I was kind of overwhelmed with this situation. I didn't see that I could have taken the rook. I was searching for a safe place with my queen. And I saw I cannot move on this line. I cannot move here. I cannot move there. Those fields are blocked. Those fields are blocked. Those fields are all blocked if I didn't want to put my life on the fate of yellows. Um, and I don't know, I didn't see that I could take the rook, and that I thought I would be safe here because this is all the rook's territory. So maybe I thought I at least go to a place where I can take back, where I'm protected. So big mistake here. I didn't mate in the first place, then I missed my chance in the second place and made a bad move. Blue is attacking me, doesn't make a big difference. Yellow is taking the green queen, and that was basically what I hoped. I wanted to go away from the green queen so that yellow could take, but I could have just taken the rook, and green would have been finished right away. So I lose my queen. I take back, knight takes back, castling from yellow. So in this point of the game, castling may be very good because the king is still quite safe there. Green can do no big attack there, and he's just bringing in his second rook. So, but suddenly the big mating opportunity towards green is lost. And I lost my queen, and I have to stay calm now and still see what I can do with this game. So there's no reason to quit here, even though blue and yellow seem much stronger than me in this position. But I can still be third, I can still be second, I can still win this game if possible. So I try to continue playing. Blue's preparing an attack, fork to my rook and bishop. Yellow is opening a bishop's line, possibly to mate green very fast. Green is trying to protect. I protect, or I just move the bishop in order to not get forked. He's attacking my rook anyway. Yellow's going for another queen. Green cannot do much. I protect my bishop, but more important, I prepare an attack on the knight when I move the bishop. But honestly, I do not have a real good field for the bishop in the moment, so maybe it's just a waste of time what I'm doing there. But the knight moves anyway. Yellow preparing second queen. Green trying to counterattack yellow. And I try to push for queens also, and also more important, opening a field for my bishop where I can develop it. Green is doing a knight's move. Okay. In this, blue was doing a knight's move. In this move, when yellow was attacked, possibly a blue attack on the yellow pawn, giving check, that would have killed the yellow queen. Of course, blue would have lost his bishop, but it would still be a very strong move for him, but he does not know about supporting and partnering with your opposite, so he just makes a slow move without big success here. Yellow can save his queen, and green brings over the knight to further protect his king's position. Also, green does not quit here. So sometimes you see players quit when they are in kind of material situation where they do not have the hope for winning. But first, if green would quit, he would leave blue alone. And that's not really fair for the opposite player. Secondly, if green would quit, he would still have a big risk of becoming forced, even though he has the highest points in the moment. But there's good chance that we all would get higher than 17 points in this game. So he may end up forced. So he wants to not be forced, and he wants to seek his chances for even the second player possible. So I develop my bishop. Blue develops the rook. Here's the second yellow queen. Immediately being attacked from green, and then there's again the chance for blue to attack yellow. I just move my pawn. Blue stays passive. Queen can move away. So now, since bishop and queen are on this diagonal, mate is urgently threatened for green. Well, he doesn't see it. He could have moved the knight in between. That would have been the better move. Knight being protected by the rook, and then immediate mate would have been secured. So I can't do anything about it. Maybe I do not even want to. So yellow is taking the mate, and now with 2 queens and 31 points is the clear leader of the pack in the last remaining 3 players. Blue's second, I'm third. But now, since green is gone and blue's not such a strong player, I hope that together with yellow I can win over blue and stay at least second. And if yellow and blue might get into a strong fight with each other, I may even steal a win in the end. But that's only fantasy in the moment. So I try to move my pawns and possibly also get a queen back. Blue's playing slow. Yellow's bringing back his queen. I open further lines for my pawns to develop. Okay, blue's threatening a check on me. Yellow bringing in the knight. Don't know if in order to attack blue or in order to stop my pawns. Okay, here's the check. I haven't seen it in the game, and that was like stupid. Because immediately this check, I do not know if green really wanted to attack me, but also, of course, this attack, even if blue wouldn't check me, this attack is kind of difficult for me. Well, I can defend it. I can put the rook in between if blue would not check me. I would only possibly at some point lose this pawn, but the yellow queen cannot like make me here. But now with the check from blue, I cannot even put my rook in between. I have to move away with the king. And oftentimes I figure that moving forward with the king, especially in the kind of nearing end game where I want to promote my pawns and when I protect them with the king, it's better to move forward with the king than to step back. It's more easy for a king to be mated on the last line than on some of the center lines. So blue is now seeing that together with yellow, he has a chance to take advantage and win over me. And luckily for me, yellow tries to attack blue, tries to take this pawn, either with the bishop or the knight, and sees that the blue king, having castled, is not in a safe position. And my king, even though open in the center, may even be in a kind of safer position than blue king. So I attack the queen just to preemptively send her away from my territory. Blue is opening his king position even further. Well, of course, attacking now the yellow bishop, maybe forcing a trade. And yellow trades. I like that. And I can take the yellow queen. So I get a little upwind here. Yellow and blue start to fight each other, even though they just had kind of a joint attack on me. We're not continuing that. That was a mistake, I believe. And both lose material. And even further, so another pawn of blues is killed. And I see a chance here. I just take the knight. Well, I may lose my bishop. But in this situation, I want to make sure that yellow is continuing the attack on blue and that yellow and blue are fighting with each other. So I figured if I support yellow here, yellow would not come at me, but play against blue for, rather. So I'm lucky, I get away with it. My bishop is not being taken. Blue takes yellow. Yellow takes blue, and I didn't see that. I was in check by yellow taking. So in this case, I still may lose my bishop. I have to move my king. But of course, blue also has to move his king, so no threat for my bishop in this moment. Yellow still continues the attack on blue's king. I can move back with my bishop. I was thinking for a short while, should I do an attack on the rook and bishop here to further support yellow? But I was thinking in this situation, yellow and blue can fight it out and I can save my material and maybe in the end steal the win. Okay, further pawn attacks, I can take back. And the blue king is now in a pretty weak situation. He takes back, but he's now on the whim of yellows. Check with the rook. I can start to move that pawn. Check with the queen. And now I'm, of course, thinking, can I steal the mate? So whenever you check, like the fourth or the third remaining player, you have to watch whether your partner can steal the mate. And when you check him without mating him, it's always a danger that someone else steps in and tries to be independent from your success and tries to go for his own success. But unlucky as I was, there was no possibility for me to mate in this situation. So I just push my pawn and hope to get a queen while yellow is mating blue. So the only thing he can do is bring in his knight. Well, it's undefended there. Another possible move would have been to just move the king here. Would that be kind of a safe spot for him? Well, maybe for the moment. There's, well, rook, no, here. Queen there, could check. So yellow could always check, but could yellow mate? It's not an easy mate, not a very quick mate. So in this situation, maybe it was a mistake by blue to waste his bishop to block this. Because the queen just takes and he's still in check. I just move on and go for promotion. And now again, blue can throw in his queen, but then next move, yellow would take it, have 9 points for the queen, 20 points for the king. So it would be the best solution for yellow. And the other opportunity or possibility would still be the king walking on this field. I was thinking, should I bring in the second rook? Should I kind of still try to steal the mate? But I was just going for a promotion here. I figured if I had a queen, I could possibly then win over yellow. But of course, after yellow mates blue, yellow is already far away in points and can claim the win. So blue resigns at this point. He does not make the last possible move. And immediately yellow does not worry about attacking blue. He just attacks my king and will take my rook in the next move. So smart move of yellows, no wasting of time hunting down a king. Rather see your possible attacks towards the remaining opponent, which had been his partner over the game. But now, of course, as soon as we are only two, last man standing heads up, he's attacking me. I have to move my king. I have to lose my rook. I try to take the queen anyway, can't protect the pawn. Of course, he takes with another check. I have to move away. In this situation, I am already at second place with the points, so I can just quit here. I'm still hoping that I somehow would steal the mate. So yellow again is giving me a chance, attacking the blue king, and I'm thinking now, can I mate here? But the king has still one field left. Well, could I mate here? And the king would possibly be made. Would it be made if I just moved my rook there? No, king can take this pawn. Took me a while to see that. Didn't realize before moving, but after moving I saw, okay, king can take the pawn. And there's the mate, and a few steps later I will resign because I lose anyway. And that's how this game went. So I didn't mate when I could mate, and that was a mistake. I didn't take when I could take the rook, and that was a mistake. I moved away my queen in an unsafe spot, and that was a mistake. So I had plenty of reason to quit, but I did not quit. And even though I didn't win many points, I became in second and won at least 1.3 rating points. So I figured that in life, all these strategies really matter. And maybe you do not want to only use them in 4-player chess, but you may also think about how to use this philosophy in life. Because I figure it's really helpful, even though you do not always win, but you may at least get second place. And that's still a good place to be. So don't get greedy, just stay calm. Thank you for watching, and please, any comments in my YouTube channel is welcome, and have a nice day.